The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of PhotoBiz Live. Today we're going to be covering how user-friendly is your website with Anna from our support team. And she's going to be basically showing you different ways to make your website more user-friendly and more streamlined and easier to navigate for your clients. And that's going to lead to a longer retention rate on your website. And hopefully they'll be contacting you because they like your website and it's easy to use and they love your work as well. So we're also going to have a question and answer session at the end of today's webinar. So what you'll want to do, you can just use the chat tool built into the GoToWebinar software, and we're going to answer your questions at the end of the presentation. So please hold those questions to the end. If you do want to talk about the discussion on Twitter that we're having today, you can use the hashtag PhotoBizLive, and that's the hashtag that we use for all of our different webinars. Now, we are going to be recording this webinar and placing it on our YouTube channel, which you can find at youtube.com/PhotoBiz, and we'll have that webinar online within 48 hours of today. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Anna. So she's going to go ahead and get us kicked off.
Hi everybody, and thank you for joining me today. My name is Anna, and I'm going to be covering some tips and tricks to make your site more user-friendly. This will make it easier for your customers to view your website. A lot of times when we're building up a website, it's easy to get really carried away with all the content that you want to put on it, and it's easy to lose sight of the user experience. So I'm just going to go through some things today that will help make your site as easy to use as possible for your potential clients. The first thing that I'd like to talk about is your page loading time. This is ultimately going to depend on your client's internet speed, but there are some things that you can do to kind of help increase the load time on your site. We all know that with the billions of websites out on the internet, people can get pretty click happy. So if your site takes too long to load, they might potentially navigate away and try a different website. When you're building up your website in PhotoBiz, it's really important to keep in mind that there are certain elements that can increase the load time on your site. In order to minimize this, we do recommend resizing all of your files to 1500 pixels wide by 865 pixels tall, and this will apply for all full screen templates. Some of the other brands of templates do have a different recommended size. So if you are using a different template, please feel free to contact us and we'll be happy to give you that pixel dimension. For most of you out there, you will be using the full screen templates. And again, you want to resize your images to 1500 pixels wide by 865 pixels tall. This will give you the best quality for your images and also make it the smallest possible file size. One thing that's not quite in this bullet points is the more images that you have on the home page, the longer that it'll take to load. So you want a good mix of work on your home page, but you want to limit it to about 12 images. People are much more likely to go into your individual galleries if they like what they see than they are to sit and watch a whole slideshow of 50+ images. So keep the images small in the recommended size and really limit the content on your home page. Another thing to be aware of is each thing that your website has to load up initially will increase the load time on your site just a little bit. So there are some really great extras that you can add to help customize your website, like a custom background, like music, logos, all these elements. But do keep in mind that everything that has to load up initially will take a little bit longer when your customers are trying to load up the site for the first time. The next thing that I want to talk to you guys about is actually accessibility. We are primarily a Flash company here at PhotoBiz, but not all devices that can go online can view Flash. Most of your computers will have no problem with that, but some of your cell phones and tablets won't be able to view your Flash site. To kind of help our customers out with this, we do have HTML mirror sites, which are a really great addition to your Flash website. That way, if people are visiting your site on a device that doesn't support Flash, like an iPhone, they'll immediately be redirected to the HTML mirror site. If you guys aren't familiar with our HTML mirror sites, I actually do want to show you an example. This is our beautiful Milan template. It's very popular here at PhotoBiz, but let's say that you wanted to view this site on a device that does not have Flash on it, like an iPhone or one of the tablet devices. If you were on that device, you would immediately be kicked over to this version of the website. This is the HTML mirror for the Milan template. It looks very similar, and it is something that can be loaded up on cellular devices. So this is a good addition to have to your website. You really want to make sure that people who are coming to your site are actually able to get there no matter what device they're on. This is actually really important, your site's navigation. The site's navigation refers to the menu items on your site, like home, about us, information. You really want to make sure that these menu items are visible and easy to get to. This is going to make the user experience much easier for your clients. They'll know really what you're trying to get at with your website and how to easily find out what they need to know about you. You also want to make sure that things are very clearly labeled. Sometimes it's kind of fun to use non-traditional labels for your website, like instead of about us, let's chat, things of that nature. It's a really cute and personable way to present your work, but you also want to make sure that people are able to get to the content and understand what you're presenting. It's also a really good idea to not make your customer click around too much to view the content on your website. We actually do see quite a bit of this in support. It's a really good idea to have all your information viewable in 3 clicks or less. That way people are not having to hunt around all over your site to get to the information that they want to see. For this, I do want to show you an example of a site that has really awesome navigation. This is a PhotoBiz customer, and this is sugarbellcakes.ca. She is a cake provider. She decorates cakes, but her navigation up at the top is super easy to understand. Home, information, ordering, pricing. She has cake galleries, cupcake galleries, cookies, testimonials, contact us. There's not too many items in the navigation, and nothing is too hard to get to. Everything is under 3 clicks. To kind of show you an example of a website that's a little bit harder to navigate, this is my current demo account. Not everything is visible up at the top. The writing's a little bit hard to see. Definitely not as user-friendly as the Sugar Bell Cakes website. This kind of refers to the navigation that we were just talking about. When you're building up your website, it is really important to keep in mind the color scheme on your website. A lot of times these templates will offer you something called a selected menu item color. This gives your customer a really good frame of reference for where they are on your website and where they've been. This is something that most templates have. The color schemes are a little bit different from template to template. First of all, I just want to show you an example of somebody who is using this and doing it quite well. I'm going to take you over to StephenRawsonPhotography.com. And as you can see, his menu items are down here at the bottom. We are on the home page, and it is clearly identified by the red box around home. If we were to click around to information, you can see that he's also doing that with his drop-down menus. The text turns black. It clearly indicates where the user is on the site. This is a really good tool. It just kind of helps your customers know where they've been, where they are, and where they can go from there. I also wanted to show you how to do this in the control panel. If you're working with the PhotoBiz templates, you'll have the ability to customize the color scheme. That can be found under the color picker in your control panel. If you go down to your custom color scheme, or if you don't already have one created, you can click Customize and launch a custom color scheme. But I've actually got quite a few going here. I'm going to open up this one. And you will always find the menu item colors under this menu tab right here. And the control that I'm speaking about specifically is this one right here, the selected menu item text. It's a really good idea to keep this a different color from the menu item text. The menu item text is going to be this right here, and once it's selected, you see that gray box around it. Now the control panels are going to vary a little bit from template to template. So of course, if you have any questions about how to change this color scheme, you can always give our passionate support team a call. This next tip refers to the text on your website. You don't want to be long-winded with the information that you're presenting to your customers. People will only take in so much information at once. And if you have a lot of content in one area, there's actually a pretty good chance that people aren't going to read it all. They'll either skim through it or disregard it completely, and you have some really good information for them, so you don't want them to navigate away. It's really best to keep it brief. If you have too much text in one area, there's a good chance that even if everybody goes through and reads all of it, they're not going to retain what you really want them to. One of our customers who does a great job with the information on his site is actually Hiram Trelo. I'm going to take you now to hiramtrelo.com. This is his website, and his information is pretty straightforward. If we go under his investment tab, everything is right here. I'm not having to scroll to read any of the content. It's pretty direct and to the point. He's even managed to keep it quite specific and brief in his About page. Hiram's doing something a little bit different. Instead of using the traditional layout, he's actually using a home page, and he's photoshopped his text onto the image. But even still, the text is not too wordy. It's very brief, and it really gets to the root of who he is as a photographer. This next one is a tip about how your readers will experience the text on your site. You really don't want to intimidate your visitors. As photographers, you know lots of terminology that most people probably aren't as familiar with. Lots of industry terms, lots of terms that you're really used to using when speaking about your work, but that your clients might not understand. You really want to keep the text on your website relatable. This encourages people to read more, and they'll take away more from your site. They'll really understand what you're trying to get at, and they won't feel like maybe this is just too much for them. Maybe they're a little bit overwhelmed. So yeah, you just want to keep it nice and conversational, relatable, and people will really be able to get a lot away from your site. You also don't want to overload one specific area with content. You have lots of areas on your website where you can add text. You want to make sure that you're really using these areas to the best of your abilities. You got 3 information pages with the portfolio website. There's also a contact page, testimonials pages. These are really great places to add text to your website so people can read and find out more about you. You don't want to try and put everything in one place. If you're breaking up your pages, it's really going to help the flow of your website. So instead of putting everything in one place, you can start with a section, and then people can navigate to a new page and read a little bit more. Everything should build off each other and really enhance the viewer experience. If you do put all of your information on one page, it's probably a little bit too much for the client. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. They might navigate away. It might be too much for them to read. People do tend to view websites with a quickness. They're clicking around. They want to get to the root of it. So this might cause them to navigate away from your information. Your text pages are also a really good opportunity to break up some of the images. If people are just viewing gallery after gallery after gallery, the images might not have the lasting impression that you want them to. Information pages gives them the ability to break up that visual experience and read a little bit about you, and then hopefully navigate to a few more of your galleries. This is really important. You want to make sure that the information on your site is really easy to read. Sometimes when you are building up your website and making color choices and picking colors that you really love, it's easy to do things that makes it a little bit more difficult for your customer to read the information on your site. A couple questions that you might want to ask yourself. Is the font easy to read? Maybe you love a particular font and it's really cursive-y and pretty, but then when you get on the site and preview it, you can't really read what the words are saying. This is just something that you want to be mindful of. Another thing that can help is the size of the text on your site. Maybe you don't want to compromise that really cursive-y pretty font. Maybe if you make it a little bit larger and make the color choices more bold, it'll be easier to read. Also, you don't want to alienate any of your older clientele that might have difficulty reading tiny print. So just make sure that the font is large enough for people to read. It's a good font, a clear font. And also make sure that the colors don't conflict with each other. You wouldn't want to do white and then a gray background. That might make the text a little bit harder to read. I do want to show you an example of one of our clients' websites that has a pretty good color scheme with her text. I'm going to take you over to Michelle Moore's site. It's michellemooreseniors.com. She has got a pretty interesting color scheme down here. If we look at our text at the bottom, home is in white. It's the selected menu item. Goes back to what we were saying earlier. It lets us know where we are. If we click on information, we get this bar here, and as soon as we start navigating over things, the information is really easy for us to read. It's a nice bold color scheme. It's bright yellow, which is kind of fun and exciting, white and black. So that's a really good color scheme. Also, when you go into our information pages, this is super easy to read. It is kind of a gray font, but it's on that white background. It's not difficult at all for us to pull this information away from her site. Just to kind of give you an example of what not to do, I'm going to take you back over to my site here for a second. And if we go to Contact Us, you can barely read this type. It's a really pretty lavender color, but it's on this white background. And it probably wasn't the smartest choice just for readability's sake. And contact information is definitely one of the things that you want to be quite visible to your customers. This is a big one, but something that a lot of people will miss sometimes, as you want to make sure that your contact information is super easy for your customers to find. After they've spent all that time going through your website and they like what they see, the very next thing they're going to want to do is get in contact with you. And you do not want to make this part of the process difficult for your customers. You want it to be as easy and streamlined as possible. So if people have to hunt around for the contact information, again, they might lose interest and they might click around and find another site. I definitely recommend having your contact tab as a standalone tab in your navigation. I wouldn't necessarily put it in a drop-down menu. I think it's a good thing to have right out in front for people to see, something that's clickable, something that's right there and very present. I've also seen a couple people include their contact information in their logo or in the footer text section of their website. This is a really great idea. The easier it is for people to find that information, the better. One of our customers who I think is doing a fantastic job of this presentation is Mia Whitmore. I'm going to just show you her website really quickly. As you can see, Mia has a nice clean website. Her contact information is super easy to find. She does have it as a standalone tab. It's right here, contact details. We click on it and we can see all of her information. We're not having to hunt around in all these drop-down menus. It's just right there for us. And she's also incorporated it down here at the bottom. She has her email information and her phone number. So if you were visiting her site and you were interested in booking her, it wouldn't be difficult at all to find out the information that you need to get in touch with her. This is really important because you want people calling you. Another thing that you might want to think about is you might want to get a second opinion on your website. You have a lot of work and a lot to say, and it's really easy to get carried away when you're building up a website. One thing that can help you think more objectively about your website is a second opinion. Get a friend or a colleague or a coworker to just kind of sit down and go through the site and make sure that it's easy for them to use. Make sure that the information on the site is not too wordy. Make sure that the images and the galleries aren't too many. Make sure that it's a good experience, because when you're doing all this work, it is really easy to want to show off so much. It can be really difficult to edit yourself. So yeah, have a friend go through it. Some things that you'll want to make sure that they're taking note of is the navigation. Make sure that it's easy to use. Make sure that they're not confused about any of the pages and any of the information that they're reading. You'll also want to make sure that when they're going through the galleries, the images hold their attention. Again, you want to limit the amount of images that are in a gallery. People are a lot more likely to go through multiple galleries than they are to sit and watch a slideshow of 50 or so images. I would put maybe 12 on the home page, limit the gallery pages to 20 to 25, really edit yourself. And this is something that you'll want to make sure that your friend is taking note of as they're going through the site. This is a big one. Whenever you're about to publish your website, you do just kind of want to take note of the changes that you've made. I highly recommend just previewing your website, going through and making sure that everything is still really easy to read. Especially if you're publishing for the first time or if you've been making color changes to your website. It's a really good idea to just click through all the pages, take a quick survey of all the information, and make sure that everything is still really clearly presented. I would recommend going through all the pages. Another thing that we see a lot of in support, especially with newer websites, is their dead pages. And this refers to a page that doesn't have any content on it. This is something that you can hide, especially if you're making that website for the first time. Maybe you haven't had time to think about what you want About Me to say. Instead of publishing it with that page blank, you can actually hide that page so that it's not visible. And then when you have time to go back in and write about yourself, you can update it and make it visible and republish. Another thing that you'll want to take note of is right before you go to publish, there's actually a website health check button. This is a great thing to check before you publish. It'll just let you know if anything is missing on your website. I'm going to take you over to the control panel real quick and just kind of address these last 2 points. I'm going to show you how to hide a page, and I also do want to show you that website health check button so you can check it out before you publish your site. All right, so the first thing is, let's say we have a page that we're not quite ready to display to the public, but we really do want to publish the site. One thing that you can do is you can go in here and you can hide it. And this can be done under the Details tab, under Page Settings, and you can just turn the visibility to No and Update. That way, when you preview the site, the contact form is no longer going to be there, and it won't be a dead link on the page for people to click around on, and they won't be able to see any information. I also want to take you over to the website health check button. Now this is under the publish icon in your control panel. Right before you're getting ready to launch this site, publish now, right to the right of that is a website health check. If you click on it, it'll let you know if you're missing any information on your site. And this is what it'll look like if you're actually missing some information. It looks like I have quite a few galleries that don't have any content on it. This is a dead link. When people click on it, it's just going to say no images, which isn't exactly desirable. So we can hide those pages like we just did before. If everything looks great with your website, you'll actually see this. A nice green check mark. So you're all ready to go. Your website's not missing anything crucial that might disrupt the viewer experience. You're all ready to publish. So I have been talking about lots of tips and tricks when you're building up your website. This is actually one for when you actually have it launched. Once you've created your website, you want to encourage people to come back. So we have lots of things that can help you keep your website looking fresh and encourage that return traffic to the website. One of the things that we do recommend is we do recommend updating your home page fairly often, every few months or so. This gives people something new to look at when they visit your website, fresh images, and it also lets them know that you're continually working. If they visited your website several times over the last year and the images haven't changed, they might get the impression that you're not doing any new work. So this kind of livens up your website for your return visitors and lets people know that you're a working photographer. Another thing that is really easy to do to freshen up the look of your website is to switch up the template. This is something that you can do with one click. It's really easy to switch templates. You have access to all of the templates. There's no extra fee to switch or anything like that. And we're constantly coming out with new designs. So we make it really easy for you to keep that website looking fresh. If you're interested in switching templates, all you have to do is go to this templates icon in your control panel and choose any one you want. And we've got 100 plus flash templates for you to choose from. It is that easy. And now my website looks completely different. So it's a really good idea just to kind of mix it up, keep everything nice and fresh, and give those customers who are coming back to your website something new to take a look at. And that's actually my presentation. I want to open it up to questions at this point. If you guys have any questions about the information that was in the webinar, I'll be happy to help you out. Just let me know.
All right, well, thank you, Anna, for your great presentation today. We're going to go ahead and see what kind of questions you guys have. So again, just use the chat tool inside of the GoToWebinar software, and we'll answer any questions that you may have. All right, well, we do see some questions coming in now. So the first question we got was from Taylor, and Taylor wanted to know what question or what template was Michelle Moore using. Michelle is using the R Wall Street template, and you can find that in the full screen collection, actually. All right, so the next question we have is from Patty, and Patty wants to know, when changing templates, does the mirror site also change as well? So I'm going to let Anna answer this question in more detail for you.
Hi, Hi, Patty. Thank you for your question. If you change your Flash website, the mirror won't automatically adjust. It's something that you can go in and manually change. We're taking a look at the control panel right now. If you have the HTML mirror on your site, you'll see two tabs, one that says Flash and one that says HTML. If you go over to the HTML side, you can change that HTML mirror to any of the templates that you want.
And to further answer that question, if you're wondering, if I upload new photos or image or text or the alignment of my galleries, that will update with your mirror as well. The only thing that's going to be different, like Anna mentioned, is if you want to have two different templates. We do have many templates that mirror their Flash counterpart, but you can actually pick which HTML template that you'd like to display. All right, and we had a question from Patty as well. Again, another question. What template was Steven using? He is using the Florence template. So you can go and you can actually pick out Florence. Now, if you're wanting to do this effect right here that you're seeing on the home page, that is something that was done before uploading in an image editing software like Photoshop. So the template actually doesn't do this blocking. That would be something you would want to do in Photoshop. Next question is Taylor. Taylor said, do you offer someone at PhotoBiz who can check your website and give feedback? We actually have an online forum that you can go on, photobizcommunity.com, and you can actually speak with other PhotoBizers there that'll give you their opinion. You can always call the support team with general questions as well, and they're always more than glad to help you out with that. So if you want to just give the support team a call, you can do that. If you really want to have us actually build your website for you, we do actually offer services now where we can do that. It is a standalone fee, but it is something to check out. It's something brand new that we're offering for all of our clients, and that these are paid services if you'd like us to handle the whole entire process of that. So you can check out more information about services on our homepage at photobiz.com and just click on services. All right, I see a couple more questions about Steven's site since it is displaying here. There really isn't, anything that he's done to the Florence to make this blocking effect. So if you are, still kind of trying to figure out how to get that going, that would just be like a template you could probably download in Photoshop and then plug in that, or literally just, you can actually use our dimensions and create something very similar to this. So if you were wanting to know those dimensions, you can go to photobiz.com and look them up, but they actually are 1,500 pixels wide by 865 pixels tall. All right, and we're going to go ahead and get things wrapped up here unless you guys have any additional questions. Jeff, you're wanting some more information and see if some PhotoBizers can help you out. Definitely just head over to our Facebook fan page at facebook.com/photobiz, and you can ask that same question there. You can always call our support team, and we'll be more than glad to give you our opinion on it. And again, definitely take advantage of that community. So the community is free for everybody to use, whether you're a PhotoBiz client or not. And that's just our online forum where there actually is a Rate My Site whole entire subforum. So you could just post the link to your website right there, and our team and fellow PhotoBizers will check it out and leave you some feedback on there. Also, we are having a couple people ask for copies of today's presentation. We are recording it, so it will be on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/PhotoBiz. And you can always just actually head over there now before the webinar is online and subscribe to our channel. And what that'll do is whenever we upload a new video, you'll get a notification that we've uploaded a new webinar or a new video for you to check out. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for your great questions today, and thank you for joining us. Also, I wanted to thank Anna for putting together a great presentation and taking time out of her day to help you guys out. So we're so glad that you guys could make it today and join us. We are going to have more webinars coming up in the coming weeks, and you can actually just head over to our blog and sign up for those additional webinars. And we're very honored to be able to do these free webinars for you guys. So if you do have feedback, please take just a few minutes at the end of the webinar to fill out a survey and leave us your feedback. If there's some speakers you'd like to see or different topics you'd like to be educated on, just let us know and we'll try and work those into our schedule. So thank you again, guys, and this is going to conclude today's episode of PhotoBiz Live. Have a great day.